This is me stuck behind a semi merging. Oh, now his hazard on. Oh boy. Anyways, welcome to Audibly Fat. That's the name of the show, and it's the other episode I'm going to release. I'm probably going to release both of them together. I'm doing the same thing, driving down to my mom. This time my wife is in tow in the car behind me. Last time, I believe... I was going down to check on an apartment. I didn't even talk about it. My mom's moving out here to Colorado. I moved out here in 2014, so that would be 7 years ago. You know, the 5th of July will be 7 years ago. Yeah, it's been a wild ride. Anyways, last time I recorded the episode, I was driving down to look at an apartment for my mother who was coming out here. And now I'm going down to see her at that apartment and make biscuits and gravy. I'm running a little bit late. It's going to be a brunch, not necessarily a breakfast. But we're going to get together and hang out. Yeah, so in the first episode, I'm going to release them both together. I believe I said that. The first episode, I didn't know what I was going to call it. I didn't know what direction I was going to take it, what I was going to do. And as I think that was about 6 weeks ago, give or take, maybe a month ago. In the time since, I've thought about it, and I've recorded some more on my phone that are just, and I recorded one, I filmed one on my webcam that's shitty, and just trial and error going through it and figuring it out. I figured out the name, and I figured out, kind of the haphazard direction. I mean, what the fuck, what's the point of how much direction are we supposed to have in this life? You know what I mean? I mean, I have a job. My direction is to take care of my wife and my family and have children and buy a home and try and live in the American dream, I'm 32 now, so my goals are that. I've been married since 2019, got engaged in 2018, and so for the since about 2015, 2016, this is all I've kind of been leaning towards as far as goals. Is just, settling down, because, what do you know about the world and what it is? It's a big, dark, ugly place, and, there's not much you can do or control except for your own life. And so knowing that, I found somebody I love, and somebody who loves me, and somebody I believe speaks to me, and we're soulmates, you know what I mean? As cheesy as that is, I genuinely feel like, she's the one I'm supposed to be with. She's just fantastic. She's better than me in every way. She loves me for whatever reason. I'm sure she'd give you plenty. I think they're all bullshit if somehow I've conned her into being with me. But she is, like I said, far better than me in every way. And she's the light of my life. She gives me a reason to exist, and that's what you need in this life. That's what you got to find, something to give a shit about, someone to give a shit about, whatever. And I did. So, but yeah. Anyways, the direction of this is just me. Like in the description, it'll be in the description. I was thrown out of my house at 18. I think I talked about it in the epilogue of this. A little bit about my childhood. I was thrown out of the house at 18 at my mom's house. I stopped talking to my dad when I was 12. Moved in with my mom full time, and that was that. But I was told every day by my stepdad on that side of the family that the day you're 18, you're out of this fucking house, and they fucking held true to that. That definitely was the case. I was definitely out of the house. I was thrown out with no money, no direction. I barely graduated high school by the skin of my fucking teeth. I mean, I would have graduated and I'd take a night class over the summer or some shit, but I'm talking like walked with like the kids, walked with my fellow classmates and everything like that. Like, oh man, it was a harrowing, narrow finish. So I barely graduate high school. I have no money. My family didn't know how to manage money. We lived paycheck to paycheck our entire lives. My mom, who made enough money to take care of deadbeat husbands and 3 kids, lived in doing so, you live paycheck to paycheck. So that's just how I knew how to manage money. So I was thrown out into the world homeless. I lived in a 94 Lincoln Town Car. I slept outside of my grandparents' house or outside of my mom's house. Or so I could get into my grandparents' house, but they had a curfew. My grandparents are old, and they're very much like, if you're going to stay here, you're not going to be out all night. Whatever that means. So I had to come home every night before 10. Otherwise, I'd get locked out. No question about it. So I'd sleep in the car. 94 Lincoln Town Car. As far as sleeping in cars go, you can sleep in fucking worse cars, dude. We're talking luxury for the time. We're talking middle upper class, nice luxury vehicle. So sleeping in that wasn't that big a deal. It was definitely chill. As far as sleeping in a car goes, the area I slept in my car, either in the Bay Area, a lot of times in Antioch, sometimes in Oakland, sometimes in San Francisco, depending on where I happen to have a job, or where, if I was staying with my friend Sev, or, sorry, I don't name names, Seth, staying with Seth. Well, I already named him now. So staying with him, or staying with, hanging out with, my other friends back in the East Bay. Whatever, whether I was hanging out with the losers or the person, going to college and playing football, that's where I stayed. I at one time tried to sleep in my car in Orinda, and I got pulled out, by 6 cops, 3 of them with their hands on their guns, pulled out, car stripped and searched, cuffed, set on the curb while they searched my vehicle, and then they ended up letting me go because I didn't have a record or I didn't do drugs. I smoked weed, but I was so poor and I was so broke, and I didn't buy weed until I was in my 20s, but I smoked weed at 18, 19. I didn't buy it though, so I didn't have it. I didn't have pipes or anything like that. I had Black and Milds and peanuts. I would smoke Black and Milds or cigarettes or and peanuts, until eventually I got a job at the mall. But for about six, a whole summer and into a fall, creeping into a winter, 6 to 9 months I was homeless. I lived out of my car. So anyways, doing that, and then the first job I got while I was homeless and living in my car was, like I said, my friend Seth, and he lived in Oakland. And he went to school in Oakland at Laney Community College in Oakland, California, and played football. We were bouncers. He got me a job bouncing at nightclubs in San Francisco when I was 18 years old. We're talking like Temple and Circa and Gravity Room and Whisper and, these kinds of places. None of them exist. Maybe, none of them exist. I'm pretty sure. None of them exist. We didn't do city nights, shitty nights. We didn't do that place, but we bounced at a lot of places, and I was a kid, I was just a big guy, a big fat fuck. Obviously, the show's called Audibly Fat. You can tell by the way my voice sounds. I'm obviously a fat, I'm fat. I'm a fat guy. I was a fat kid. I was a fat teenager. I was a fat boy. I was a fat young man. I'm a fat man. I'm a fat at every stage. I've been fat. So, I was, at this point I had hit a growth spurt, so I was like 6'1", 6'2", and 300 pounds. So yeah, I could easily get a job bouncing and working the door at nightclubs in San Francisco, which I didn't belong at. I'd be checking IDs with grown men that, had real jobs. We're talking like fucking hedge fund managers in Silicon Valley and guys that work for Google. We knew guys that worked for Google, and early, in the early, this 2007, 2008. 2006, those years, like we knew guys that worked, early Silicon Valley when these companies were blowing up. We're talking guys that worked at Facebook when it first got there. So I had no business checking these IDs and getting money to go up to VIP and, doing all types of fucking crazy shit and getting in fucking fights and carrying out NFL players and getting guns pulled on us and getting fights at the fucking pizza spot right across the street and throwing a guy through the fucking windows and, and just wild ass shit, man. Like wild ass shit, throwing people out and taking the drugs out of their pockets on the way out the back door, and then as soon as they go out the back door, the cops grab them and throw them in a car. Like literally, SFPD would be waiting and grab these guys and put them right in the fucking car, starting shit at the bar. No questions about it. We took your blunts, we took your bag of coke. See ya. Fucking. So living in homeless, but 3 nights a week working in San Francisco. Getting paid out of the back of an Escalade, every 2 weeks, going to pick up your check at 3 a.m. after a night of working from a guy out of the back of his fucking Escalade truck in a parking lot under the freeway in the middle of the Mission District. Like, yeah, you're like, wait, what? Like, the fuck is happening? But yeah, doing that and everything in between, man. Like, oh shit, sorry, slamming on the brakes. Here we are in Colorado where people brake on the fucking freeway. We're on the interstate I-25. This is I-25. It's a north-south main drug artery for the United States. I've read about this in some books and some articles online and some videos, and the DEA. I know enough to know that this is it. It runs all the way up to I believe Chicago. I don't know, but anyways, this is a main artery where a lot of shit comes that In-N-Out's gonna use. They came out here finally a couple months ago, maybe. Still haven't been. I'm gonna let them iron the kinks out. They had a COVID outbreak, COVID-19. I believe like 80 employees at In-N-Out got within weeks of opening, because they go up to your car in the drive-thru, and they're very friendly and personable, and they probably had a party together. We're the opening crew, blah blah blah, restaurant life, and they all got COVID. Or maybe one of them brought a bat, an Indonesian bat, and they undercooked it. What's more likely? So yeah, anyways, worked bounced in clubs and back in the day, and when I was a kid, and then eventually got a job at the mall full time, as well as bouncing on the weekends at nights, and then eventually kind of got my act together a little bit. Got a house with my girlfriend at the time. Started dating a girl that was out of my league in high school, to be honest. I mean, she was a world-class athlete, like one of the best female athletes in the country. One of the best female athletes in high school athletics in American history. One of the most prolific. So started dating somebody way out of my league after she dropped out of her freshman year of college, or transferred and came home for personal reasons or whatever. Started dating her, and it kind of got my act together a little bit, and got a job at the mall. Finally went down to the mall, and then at this point, I believe I was able to con my way back into my mom's house, because I had a job, and I was like, yo, dude, I'm tired of living on the streets. This is fucking bullshit. Like, I'm not a street rat. I can't tell you how many times. The fastest was Orinda, which I already talked about. That story in Orinda where they stripped my car. What are you doing here? What the fuck are you doing? Running through my shit, running my plates, taking everything, like literally pulling the seats out, pulling the fucking seats up, like the covers. One of them had a screwdriver one time. So that was commonplace, just because of the car I had. And it's the Bay Area. You sleep in your car in the Bay in a 94 town car with a fucking with the left headlight dangling, the left blinker dangled. It had been in an accident when I got it, and the left blinker worked, but it dangled. The bare bulb dangled from a fucking wire. It just was hanging there loose. And so yeah, I was just asking to be pulled over all the time, and then sleeping behind a Target in Concord or Orinda, or the chillest places were Oakland and San Francisco. But then people come up to you, then you got to deal with the street folk. You got to deal with that cup. They do this. They cup their eyes like binoculars, and they're just all of a sudden you're laying there. You might have just cranked one out, jacked off. When you know what a sad fucking life that is when you're a teenage boy that, was raised by people with, with a job, and you'd figure that you thought were grown-ups and had their shit together, and then you're just laying there jacking off under an overpass in Oakland, in Oakland, and then you finish, and then you're laying there just staring at the ceiling, and all of a sudden there's fucking just doop, a guy looking down at you. You're like fucking Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man. You're about to kiss like Kirsten Dunst. Like, you're like, what the fuck, dude? Like, that's just, oh man. So it was either the cops or the street folk, street rats. I mean, you're just out in the elements out there. It's just not fucking fun. Living in your car is fucking ridiculous. Homelessness is just ridiculous. So I had a taste of that, and then eventually conned my way back into my fucking house because I had a job at this point. Like I said, I got a job at the mall at a store I will not be named. It was a kiosk and we sold, we're going to say, allegedly I sold sneakers out of a kiosk. Not custom fitted, but fitted, sized, $30. You only bought one of them, and it had your favorite team and a lot of different colors and different styles. Anyways, we sold hats. Allegedly, we sold hats. Allegedly, I worked at a place at the mall, and we sold hats. And allegedly, I got a job there as the third key. I don't remember this. I started smoking weed at the time. This is when I just got off the streets, finally back in my house. Got a girlfriend, starting to get my shit together. I'm working in the city a couple days a week, working. Now I'm working at the mall. So I finally starting to get some traction here. I'm a manager. I'm telling people I manage a store. It's a kiosk at a fucking mall. Allegedly I did this. This is supposedly. I'm sure the statute of limitations. I mean, whatever. Supposedly this all happened. So I'm there. I'm working. I get a job there, and I get a job from this big old black girl. And for the sake of this, we're gonna call her Shawnee. Her name was Shawnee. So I'm working for Shawnee. She's cool as shit. Big old black girl, dreads. She's got the cherries tattooed on her left tit. Cleavage, easily 300 pounds, but just like, what the fuck it is. Just proud black woman. Cool as shit. Reeked like weed and candy. She sprayed herself with like I guess it must have been perfume or cologne that you get at the fucking smoke shop or some shit. You know what I mean? She sprayed herself with this shit. And she smelled like just candy. I don't know how else to describe it. Just sugary candy. She kind of smelled like, the candy she smelled like was like, Runts? You guys ever eat Runts? She smelled like those tasted, like the banana one, like that fire ass yellow Runt. That's what she smelled like. She sprayed herself with like this it was probably pina colada. Now that I'm thinking about it, it was like it was just so candy, but it was like pina colada, coconut, pineapple, and super sweet. And she sprayed herself with this shit, and so she reeked like that and a twinge of weed, because this bitch smoked more weed than anyone I had ever met in my life. Constantly smoking weed. Had her club card and would go to Harborside 2 or 3 times a week, and just load up and just would just burn it the fuck down, dude. And you're going to Harborside and you're getting club shit. Back in the day, so this is like, early, late, before pre-2010, the weed game in California was popping. It was just pre-legal, but the weed game in California still is to this day, popping. The weed game was fucking popping. It was the epicenter, it still is the epicenter of weed, like literally the apex of weed technology. So She's going to Harborside, which had fire. Shit, you buy an eighth there, you give it to you in a glass jar. You buy an eighth, you get it in a glass jar. So she's buying fire. Fucking fire. And it didn't really make any sense. We work at a mall in a kiosk, and I just was like, and I knew she had a dude, big old dude with dreads. No, actually, he wasn't a big old dude with dreads. He was a skinny dude with dreads, I think. Yeah, because I saw him once. Now that I'm thinking about it, skinny dude with dreads. Anyways, I figured, he must have been a pusher or some shit. They must have been selling some shit. So I don't know how they had much money to smoke as much weed as they did. It didn't really make sense. And she didn't have a car. She fucking walked to work. She lived at the apartments across from the mall, and her mom worked at the Burlington Coat Factory and managed the Burlington Coat Factory. And then she, across the street at the mall, managed the store. And they walked, and I'm pretty sure she lived with her ma. Don't think she lived with the dude. Yeah, didn't have a whip. Mom had the whip. Anyways, so when you're smoking all that weed and you ain't got a whip, your priorities are straight. And then she had this dude, this fucking guy, the second guy, the assistant manager, the guy above me. I don't even remember his name. So even if I make one up, it might be right, it might be wrong. It ain't gonna matter. But I want to say it was like Chris or who the fuck knows. Let's just call him Chris for the sake of this. So Shawnee and Chris. I know her name. Definitely know her name. Knew her mom's name. I don't really remember this dude. He was just kind of... He looked like... He looked like that dude... Okay, you ever seen the show Ed, Edd n Eddy? The cartoon show on Cartoon Network. So there's one of the characters is the tall one. He's kind of like... he's got like one eye. Kind of half blinking. He just looks really goofy. It looks like him and a little bit of... Do you know the girl in Hereditary? The one that goes... It looked like them. They had a kid. So the tall, dumb kid from Ed, Edd n Eddy fucked the creepy fucking god girl from Hereditary. Spoiler alert. Yeah, banged her. Anyways, yeah, so that's what this dude looked like, and he was kind of slow and like, and always fucking high. Now, he just reeked like weed. He didn't bother spraying the pina colada candy on him. He just reeked like weed. He didn't bother smelling like a fucking, like one of those candy canes that isn't peppermint. One of the ones that just tastes like sugar. Yeah, so he reeks like weed, and they're just in the middle of the fucking mall in this kiosk in a new dope-ass store that everyone goes to get hats, the fucking fire-ass hats. Allegedly. And they are blowing it down, blowing it fat and living it up and just having a great time. And I'm the one, and I come in there and I'm there to close 5 days a week. And then the other guy, he closes 2 days a week. And then Shawnee opens 5 days a week. Chris opens 2 days a week, and then I close, you know the goddamn deal here. I'm just there to be bottom bitch. So they can't, two people can't run the show. There has to be a third. So anyways, we're working there, and then this is early 2000s. This is obviously post 9/11. This is mid-late 2000s. So obviously this is post 9/11. So the surveillance state is starting to, the engine's really roaring at that time. Not like it is today, obviously. They have not invaded like it has today, but it's there. So there's cameras and there's security, and we know where the cameras are in the mall, and because of the security, because Shawnee's worked at that mall for years at every store. That's the thing about Shawnee. That's how I knew this bitch. I'm pretty sure my sister might know this bitch if I tell her real name and describe her, because my sister worked at the mall too, at a couple of stores, the Orange Julius and the Hot Topic, and became a manager at those places. So I'm pretty sure she would know this girl because she managed all these stores, and over the years got to know everything and know the ins and outs and where the cameras were and weren't and yada yada yada. So these people, what do you mean these people? Chris is white. So these two are stealing hats, and they're not taking them home. Come to find out, maybe later they were, but but what they were doing is we didn't have ink things on them. We didn't have magnetic things on them, and we're a standalone kiosk. And by kiosk, I mean 4 pillars connected loosely by a cage roof. Okay, and on each pillar, it's a triangle. The pillars are shaped like triangles and are like pyramids essentially. And on each side of the pyramid, on the 3 sides, are different styles of hat, and they're on corners. So there's you, and then at the one end of the 4 pillars with the cage, there's you in that little, and it's like a podium, essentially a podium with a register and a computer, and that's where you sit and just, eventually you have a tendency to hang up there because that's where the cash is. So it's A, that's where your job is, and B, that's where the cash is. So when there's 2 of you on shift, one of you is always going to stay there. You're always going to stay by the register. You just are. It's just where you're going to sit. Go to any fucking mall in this country, and the guy's sitting there selling Fortnite shirts, or the other guy's selling back massagers, or the head scrapers. They're all sitting at the goddamn thing. And if they're, real hustlers, those real, the Persian types, the fucking, the dudes with the $5 cologne, then they'll just come at you. But there's usually one of them by the register, because, you could just fucking come up with a crowbar, pop that drawer out, and you got a couple $100 guaranteed, if not upwards of $500-$600. So anyways, classic smash and grab. Classic smash and grab. So you're going to hang out by the register. So you have these 4 pillars, and they're blind. They're all... if you're in the fucking kiosk, you're essentially, other than 2 or 3, unless you're right in front of me or right down the middle, I can't see you. So you learn that you can get robbed really easily. But then you learn that they are letting people take hats. You walk up, you dap them up, you hand them I see it. I see Shawnee walk up. This guy daps her up, slides a couple 20s in her hand, and then he starts shopping around and hanging out. He makes it chill. He doesn't just grab stuff and walk away. He shops and da-da-da-da-da, but I notice he leaves and never pays. Other than that little transaction, I thought she was actually selling weed. So that's how I interpret it. And I get my best friend a job, Seth, there. My best friend Seth a job there. And he gets to talking to Shawnee, because they just get to talking, and he comes to find out that no, this bitch is slanging hats for 20 a hat. Or whatever a hat. She has prices on the hats, and people come through and they pay cash, they walk away. So allegedly we find that out, and allegedly the barn door's open. Allegedly the cat fucking flies out of the bag because allegedly 5 to 10 hats a day would go walking away under everybody's shift. Shawnee's, Chris's, mine. A lot of us, we got robbed a lot. Like I said, we had no security, no cameras. We're standing alone. No ink, no magnets, no sensors, no nothing. No way to stop it. No mirrors. Not even a mirror in the corners like a semi to see what's going on the other side. Excuse me. So, yeah, we get robbed. And allegedly these people who would rob us would leave $20 a hat. Just leave it. Someone would come in and get 5 hats and leave you $100. It was crazy. It was fucking nuts. I don't know what. These are the best. These are the best ring of thieves of all time, because they're probably reselling them. They're buying them on discount and reselling them. So, allegedly. That's what this should be called. This should just be called allegedly. I did a lot of stupid shit, people. I'm not gonna lie. The only reason I'm being allegedly and allegedly, the only reason I'm saying allegedly is I have a job and a life, and I have things to lose now. I have a family. I have goals and a future and a 401k, and I can't just. Obviously, allegedly, I'm just telling stories. Anybody can say anything. And this is a comedic podcast. I'm trying to be funny. All I'm trying to do is make you laugh. If I tell you something that seems crazy or wow or sad, or I'm only telling you to be funny. If I tell you my dad beat the shit out of me and, would throw lit cigarettes at me, that's just to be funny. That's just because that's funny. That's funny. He was wasted. He drank a 5th or a 30 pack a day. It's just funny. So if I say I allegedly used to get robbed all the time by people who would leave me money, it's just a joke. These are just jokes. It's just hot air coming out of my face into a microphone. It's nothing. This is all fake. Everything's fake. It's fake. COVID's fake. Our money's fake. Joe Biden's bombs that landed in Syria 3 days ago are fake. It's all fake. Everything's fake. JFK's still alive. Tupac's in Puerto Rico. Trump, his election was stolen. It's all fake. No, I do not. I mean, that one will get you deplatformed off of everything. Yeah, if you believe that, you're a fucking retard. You're an absolute fucking retard. He was let into the show. He did what he had to do. He tweeted 10,000 times a day, and then they let him out because that's what he was there for. He was there to tweet, talk shit, start a ruckus, start a muck, get 80 million people to look like fools, get censorship open, and a censorship and banning and deplatforming campaign fucking jump started. He was a scapegoat to ban anybody who doesn't go against the fucking rhetoric. Yeah, if you can't see that, I don't know what to tell you. You're just retarded. So if I allegedly say something on here, I'm just trying to make you laugh. But I did a lot of stupid shit. Allegedly, I did a lot of stupid shit when I was a kid. You have no idea how little direction I had. None. I was told maybe 3 or 4 times that why don't you go to college? My mom would look at me and she, why don't you think about college? You should go to college. And I'm 17 years old and I'm a senior in high school. I'm like 3 weeks from graduating. I'm like, yeah. Let me get on that. What? Nothing. So if I made a lot of really poor decisions, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not blaming my circumstances. I mean, we're all perfect people and we're all responsible for our decisions, and nothing matters, and everything's black and white, and you should make perfect decisions, and if you don't, you're a piece of shit. You should never make a mistake or you're a fucking piece of shit. I know that. No one hates me more than me. But yeah, I did a lot of stupid things. For whatever reason, when I was really young, I was really misguided. Did not know what to put energy into. I put energy into a lot of dumb things, and a lot of them were getting over on people and lying and stealing and being a grift, allegedly. And now my life for the last, if I'm 32, the last 8 years has been really just pushed the other way. Since I was 24, 25 years old, I took 5 grams of mushrooms. I gave 2 to her. 5 grams of mushrooms, and I laid there for 7 hours, and then I ate another gram, and I was just, and the universe spoke to me. I listened to the Psychedelic Salon and Terrence McKenna a lot before this trip. I took a heroic dose, a lot of Duncan Trussell. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but he's really great. I just, listened to a lot of that, and then about a week later, I took a heroic dose, and it changed my life, and I realized I was a fucking piece of shit and a cunt, and I knew why, and I'd been actively trying to stop it. So, but before I literally psychologically punched myself in the teeth, I was a complete and utter retard and an asshole. And I do not condone anything I ever did. Is it funny in hindsight? Yeah. Does it give me perspective? Yes. Does it make me a more interesting person? Yeah. Do I have stories to tell? Of course. Would I do it again? Yeah, because I love my life now. Honestly, I can't say. I tell my wife all the time, I don't regret anything. I don't regret ever getting the shit beat out of me. I don't regret any hardships I ever had. I don't regret any shortcomings I ever had, any misgivings, anything that happened to me unfairly. I would do it all over again. I would live the shitty parts of my life, which were most of them, all over again, because the life I have now is great. My life is not shitty now. I am as happy as I've ever been in my life. Like, happiness obviously isn't just I'm here, happy living ever after. Obviously, I have bad days, I have moments, I have road rage, I have bad days, whatever. But for the most part, I'm not suicidal. That's how I know I'm happy. I have a reason to live. I don't actively. The most comforting thing I thought about for years. I don't know if this, what it means. To me, it's kind of funny, but the genuinely the most comforting feeling, the most comforting thought when I went to bed, the thing that would help me sleep, that would help me get actual sleep and not just be restless all night and stay up all night, and was just thinking about just ending it. Like, it could all end, or the world ending. The world could just end and I could wake up and nothing can matter, and that'll be it. My day, I don't know anything. I don't have any skills to take care of myself or start a fiefdom and a fucking, be a warlord. So I would die pretty quick. So, I would take comfort in the thought to know that death is right around the corner. And I don't do that anymore. So that's how I know I'm happy. That's how I base if that's the judge of happiness, I guess that's dark. But it is what it is, happiness doesn't mean you smile all day, but it means that I have 2 English bulldogs. I have, 2 elderly dogs that my father-in-law, we took from him before we went to Hawaii. Like, I have a wife, we have goals, we have savings account, fucking 401k. Like I said, I actually have a life. As cheesy as that all sounds, and it took 30 years to get it, but better late than never. That's kind of, I've been a late bloomer my whole life. When your mom puts you in kindergarten at 3 years old, and then you graduate when you start your senior year of high school at 16, you're gonna be a late bloomer no matter what. You're behind. They were like, get him the fuck out of here, because that's what school is for most working people, is childcare. We learned that in 2020. The worldwide pandemic, we had to shut it down, and everyone freaked the fuck out because these people can't pay for healthcare. The free healthcare is school. It's not to give a fuck about education, because these fucking same kids will go home and they'll get fucking over the back of the head and be like, don't listen to your teacher, she's a stupid fucking liberal bitch. What does she know? The fucking liberal bitch. What is she gonna tell you, how to finger paint? But then they want you in school. Yeah, they want you to go to a babysitter. So, this is me, the late bloomer D. You know what it be. That's me. I'll see you on the 1, 2, 3. Anyways, this has been Audibly Fat. Thank you very much for tuning in. Subscribe to my Patreon. Benji will be on here. He's not here right now. He was not here in the epilogue. Benji will be here. He just got out of jail. He just got his charges dropped from being at the Capitol. He made a good argument that he was let in. He had a ton of pictures and a ton of video evidence of literally being waved and escorted in as a cute bulldog into the Capitol. And he is now free, and he will be on next week. But please subscribe to the Patreon, because I finally talked him into stop jacking off on OnlyFans. And now he isn't selling his body. We're going to sell his mind. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you. Have a good day. This is Audibly Fat. Or a good night. Whatever. Goodbye.